have to say, a lot of my stuff is very colorful. I do wear a lot of black. The dance floor was the only place where I felt totally free. It was just like everything melted away. What other art form did strangers who have no idea who each other are dance in large groups and get weird with each other? Like, this is crazy. And I think also the dance floor is a place where that sharing happens. Like, you look around on the dance floor and you see people of different ages, different creeds, different backgrounds, different religions, different colors, and they're all coming together. When you go to a gallery, when you go to a sewing class, when you go to a fashion show, there is no other medium of art where it literally convinces people who have no idea who each other are to do the craziest, weirdest thing, which is dance, next to each other, and then have a great time. I think there's something super magical about the dance floor. There's something super magical about the party. And there's something super magical about laughter that really helps let those walls fall and lets people connect.
So sellable, y'all suckers. I'm telling you that this is how we roll. The sound, incredible.
This interview with Tiny Table Radio is a little bit different because today we have someone contributing to the underground music scene, not necessarily directly through the music, but through her art. And this is Madison. She goes by G though, so I think we're gonna call her G the rest of the interview. And she's the owner of Party Animals. I would love to hear how Party Animals just came to life.
Okay, so Party Animals started because I really wanted to bring people together, and I felt that my art was, that was the purpose of my art, was to help people realize that we were brothers and sisters. And I went on this really long journey to figure out what is my art, because I liked every medium. And I started tattooing, I did illustration, I did animation. And then I was in a really intense AI web design course. And at some point, I just really missed drawing. So I got a notebook and I decided that I was gonna draw every single day for 30 minutes. And then after like 2 months, a style started to emerge, and it was all these animals. I never drew people, and they were always partying and like living together in this like super cohesive moment. And I think that's because for me, like, you look out to the natural world and you see all these different species of animals coexisting together. Not to say that like some don't eat each other, you know, for example.
There was
like,
a food chain.
There's a food chain, but still in the same breath, you have like such diversity coming together and living in harmony. And then I started doing custom one-of-ones where I would kind of like stitch and hand paint things, which is like what you see on the wall back here. And then that turned into pivoting to focus on streetwear.
Partying has kind of always been a big part of your life, right? Like,
For sure.
yeah, so.
I've been partying since I was like 16.
Before you moved to New York?
Yeah, I was partying in Arizona like a lot. I distinctly remember partying like Tuesday through Sunday. And then every Sunday night I'd be like, I'm gonna get my life together. And like, I'm gonna focus on school. And then like, I would make it to Monday. And then by like Tuesday, I was like, I just need to go out. I need to dance. I need to meet people. I need to connect. I definitely had the party bug or a scratch that I couldn't itch. And I think that like now I have definitely itched that scratch or scratched that itch.
Either way, it works.
My bad. I definitely have partied a lot, and partying is actually what led me to also discovering that I wanted to be an artist. So I was surrounded, I think for like the past, I mean, I was just originally there for the dancing. That's how I got into partying. The dance floor was the only place where I felt totally free. I would be on a dance floor for hours and I'd have no idea how long I'd been there, how many hours had passed, if I was hungry, if I needed to use the restroom, what sort of bills I had to pay, what student loans I had waiting on me. It was just like everything melted away. And that's how I fell in love with house music. And that's how I fell in love with the party scene, to be honest. And then I started to get more involved in the scene and started to meet people who throw events, people who make music, people who are DJs, producers, etc. And I had this realization that you can do what you love as work, because that's what all these people were doing. And I never actually truly thought that. Like, I always kind of thought that you had to have like your hobbies and then you had to have a job, and your hobbies were what you loved, but your job was what you got paid for. And even to like, I had always had this little saying that like a job is called a job, not a passion. You know what I mean? But then I had this like whole awakening where I was like, why can't they be both? And then I got to be surrounded by people who were doing both. And that really inspired me to dig deeper and to understand, what is my passion? What drives me? What would I do for no money? And then try and do that as my job.
Right. To fund the life.
To fund your life. Yeah. To buy my coffee.
Yeah.
To pay my rent.
How did being on the dance floor inspire your style, like artistic style?
I think like I'm a super silly dancer. Like if you see me dancing, and like one of like my biggest pet peeves is if I don't have enough space to get like the windmill going on.
Gotta have an arm's
I
length.
gotta have like an arm's reach to just like bust it out. So I feel like I'm kind of more of like a freestyle street dancer. So I like to be weird with it. I also like this thing where you do like the mini dance move where it's just like a little something, but it's enough, you know? So yeah, like I think that my artistic style is also reflected in that, because as you can see, everything is super fun. Everyone's smiling, like even if they are coming up with poignant sayings and they have like real meaning to them, everything is still done in like a lighthearted way. And I think I am a lighthearted person, and I am more of like a bubbly person versus a serious person. Even though I have to say, a lot of my stuff is very colorful. I do wear a lot of black. And I always like notice that like, okay, everything that I have, like, I mean, you can't see it right now, but like I quite literally have a rainbow of array. And
She does.
yeah, and I am wearing all black all the time. So it's like, yeah,
And there's a little color on the back of the shirt.
there's a little color on the back. There's a little color on the back. I got a little color here.
Your style is fun. It's colorful. It's silly. It's playful. But there's still a lot of meaning and structure and point to the art that you make. So how do you see this helping people who might not necessarily agree on these very deep and important issues, being able to come together in the way that you talk about with like different animals, and we can coexist?
Something that I realized, I think a couple years ago, is that, and I realized it when I was in an argument with my partner, is that we were at a breaking point where it was almost like, how can we get past this? And I think one of us made a silly joke and we just started busted up laughing. Sometimes when you're in a heated conversation, if you can just share a laughter, it like totally resets the energy and it resets the vibe, and it helps you remember that if you can do this one thing, like share a chuckle, a smirk, a smile with someone that it seems like you can share nothing else with, morals, values, beliefs, even understanding of this world, it helps you realize that you can build a bridge and that there can be an understanding, even if there is not an alignment. And a lot of my messaging is political. A lot of it is what I believe is standing on the right side of history. And I think that it's important to leave space for education and learning, because also we are products of our environment. And if you're not exposed to things, then how can you know differently? If you are never around someone that's not like you, how can you know differently? You won't, actually. And I think that that's honestly like one of the biggest issues with America, is that we are super isolated and that we're only typically surrounded by other Americans unless you go out of your way to meet other people or you travel this world. And what you realize when you do travel this world is everyone is just like you. Everyone is beautiful. Everyone deserves opportunity. Everyone has struggles. They have strifes. They have triumphs. They have their own issues that they're going through. And they're your brother and sister, actually. And you're much more similar to them than you are different. And that's kind of like the whole thing about this, is that I don't know when humans forgot that we're part of the human race, but that quite literally means we're the same species. And that's kind of also the other play on this party animals thing, is that we are all animals and we are living together, and we're like the one species that when we see something that's different from us, you know, we always call it out. Like you don't see cats walking around and being like, oh, don't listen to orange cats, don't listen to white cats, don't listen to black cats, you know, like they're just cats. They don't care.
Cat wars breaking out.
Yeah. There's no cat cartel wars happening, or
not that we know of.
Not that we know of. There could be, actually.
I feel like cats might.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So I mean, kind of going back to your question about like why this approach, is that like there's something about something being silly and cute that it catches your eye and it makes you think, oh, that's adorable. And then if it has a strong message with it, you're like, oh, wow, okay, that's like a little bit sharper than I expected. But it still gives you this like space to talk about it, where a lot of these conversations are really hard for us. Like, it's not to say that there isn't factual evidence on both sides of trauma happening.
Of course.
And I think that the reality is understanding that both sides have trauma, leaving space for acceptance, and also leaving space for education, and leaving space for the fact that like some people, if they haven't been exposed to things, they're just not going to know better. And it's not that you necessarily need to like give grace and forgiveness, especially on something if it really bothers you, but it is that if you leave space for that person to come back, maybe that person will realize that they're not so different from you. Maybe that will spark a change in their lineage. Maybe that will spark a change in their friend group, where they go back and they say, hey, actually, I met a person that shares different beliefs from what we do, and they were amazing.
there's far more commonality and similarity even across different cultures.
100%.
And being able to have or interject a little bit of humor, a little bit of playfulness to even crack a smile can let down
That
barriers
Exactly.
of either ignorance or lack of education or intolerance. Be like, well, we just shared a laugh, so maybe what else could we share in this conversation?
Totally.
Right?
Exactly. And I think also the dance floor is a place where that sharing happens. Like you look around on the dance floor and you see people of different ages, different creeds, different backgrounds, different religions, different colors, and they're all coming together. And like there is something super, super hypnotic about music, where what other art form do strangers who have no idea who each other are dance in large groups and get weird with each other? Like this is crazy. Like I think that like we're really missing something when it comes to partying right now, that like when you go to a gallery, when you go to a sewing class, when you go to a fashion show, there is no other medium of art where it literally convinces people who have no idea who each other are to do the craziest, weirdest thing, which is dance next to each other and then have a great time and become friends with each other. So I think there's something super magical about the dance floor. There's something super magical about the party. And there's something super magical about laughter that really helps let those walls fall and lets people connect.
So this brings a memory up for me of actually, I think it was probably the first time I came into contact with you on a dance floor, probably about 6 or 7 in the morning. It was a Halloween party, and I think Mira was about to start playing.
Was this in the space area?
Yeah. You had a latte in your hand, and I go, where'd you get that coffee? And you just handed it to me and go have a sip. And I was like, really? You are the nicest human, like, because it was just exactly what I needed at that moment. So, but I didn't even know your name at the time.
Yeah.
But I distinctly remember that. And every time I saw you out, before we even like actually had a conversation, I was like, she's a cool girl that gave me coffee.
Yes, of course. So, I'm always the person with a coffee at a party.
Yeah.
And I'm down to share. If you need a coffee, come find me.
Same. Yeah.
Or a croissant.
All right. Quick hit here. Do you have a favorite coffee shop in New York?
I get my beans from Variety. They're the best beans.
Lucky Shot.
Shout out Variety, Lucky Shot. You know what she be. And then As You Like is the best matcha spot ever. We went there.
Yes.
It's so adorable. It only has like 5 seats, which can sometimes be really frustrating because unless you get there early, then there's no seats.
It's tiny.
It's so tiny. It's so cute. And the woman that owns it is in there every single day, like busting her butt. So go support her.
Yeah.
She's a boss.
No endorsements here. This is just actual opinions.
Yeah.
So
this is really good matcha and really good coffee.
for sure. Okay, now croissant time. What's croissant?
Okay, best croissant is definitely Nick and Sons, like
Dude.
for sure. Is it Nick and Sons? Is that the name?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sorry, I'm bad with names.
No, it's they're buttery on the buttery side, but they're
lit.
Delicious.
It's lit. Also, they do run out. And then my next favorite pastry place is bakery, but the one in Greenpoint because it's whimsical. Like you open the door, it feels like you stepped into like your grandma's cottage, is like in the woods that you've never had. Like every time I go in there, I'm like skipping. I'm like, I'm ready to draw. Like I'm gonna have a chocolate cake. It's 10 a.m. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. But yeah, like these are my 2 favorite places.
Amazing. Do you like to go outside of your studio and into these little spots to work and maybe draw inspiration sometimes?
100%. Like my favorite thing ever is to go to a coffee shop and to sit down for hours and doodle people that are coming by, doodle like the things that I saw on my way there. The most amazing thing about New York, which I realized a couple years ago when I was like more so in nature, is that New York as an artist, for me at least, is way more inspiring because I get my inspiration from stickers, animals, trash that I see on the street. Like I'm like one of those people that like sees like something on the ground and I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks like a hot dog wearing a hat, you know, and it's like a stain on the ground. And my partner is
looking at clouds, but the New York version.
Yeah, exactly. It's looking at trash. When I'm in nature, I'm just like, I don't want to make art. I just want to swing like a monkey from the branches.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to look at my laptop. So I do notice that like being in a city, especially a city that has a lot of trash, is really important for my creative process.
Don't leave New York then, huh?
Yeah, I guess.
You said you've been through a lot of different mediums with your art.
Yeah.
Do you have any that you prefer or just like an absolute, this is my favorite one to work with?
The whole process of it made me realize that I love to draw. And I love to doodle specifically. So nothing beats a notebook and like a little notebook and a pen or a pencil. But other mediums that I really love are tattoo. I really love body chains. I have like 50 pounds of beads and body chains because at some point, like me and Lana were deep into, which Lana's one of my great friends, deep into creating a body chain business. Website design is amazing. I love websites. I pretty much am like a serial medium hobbyist. Like any medium I'm down for. I save on my Instagram all the time, everything from like airbrushing to upcycling of all sorts of different kinds. I love everything. And that was actually kind of my issue. And if you're one of those artists out there that loves everything and it's really hard for you to focus, please focus, because you will get so much more done. And I think that it's also important as an artist to see progress in your work, or else you kind of just feel like you're spinning your wheels. And I noticed once I decided to fully send it on clothing and to really focus on streetwear, how much more I felt complete by the work I was doing, because I was going from like medium to medium every couple months. Like I did tattoo for 3 months, I did web design for 3 months, I did animation for 3 months, and even touch designer. I also love like digital graphics. So yeah, like stay focused and like keep grinding, and I think like you will get there, or wherever you're planning to go.
I think that it can apply to someone making music too.
100%.
Like quit trying to hop on the latest cool genre, or
Yeah.
just like figure out your sound, discover, explore, but then like go into it, dive into it. Yeah.
I also did music production. I'm also like,
wait, what?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, I did music production for a little bit,
bit.
and then I mean, you see how bad I am with tech, so it's quite hilarious. And then I decided
Did you ever
this is
finish
gonna
the track?
No, I was like, this is
okay.
gonna be a 10-year journey. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait till I have 10 years. That and learning Arabic is my 10-year plan.
Okay. Long term, little baby
Yeah.
steps. But I also found out recently that you do DJ too.
Yes, I DJ at home for my 2 cats. Felix is my biggest fan.
Nice.
He really loves minimal hip hop, so we're exploring a new genre. Yeah, I'm actually, I'm
Do you think Felix tells his friends? Like,
for
yeah,
sure. Dude, we have a cat that comes to our window. Her name's Jingles. She's our 3rd cat. Jingles be coming for tracks. She's like, what you got? What you got? No. And I'm like, girl,
Drop
not right
IDs.
now. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, here's a treat.
You just like hold up her phone, Shazam.
Treat ID.
That's good. That's for your next shirt design.
Actually, this is a whole other brand. DJ treats, DJ shaped treats for animals.
Okay.
We're combining 2 words.
Good thing we're recording. You'll remember
Exactly.
this. You do a lot of collaborations.
Yes, I love collaborating.
Yes, and I'm very excited for ours upcoming, selfishly, because
It's maybe the best one yet.
you're being very kind.
I mean, it is.
It's really awesome. But tell me a little bit about Crew Love in general.
Yeah. So Crew Love is this way in which I can collaborate with anyone, actually. And I've actually opened it up also to people that are not just in music, but at first it was pretty focused on music. So artists, people with radios, people who are connecting folks in the music space. And that's just because obviously Party Animals as a brand has, a party connotation to it. It has a lot of music, obviously, in the designs and this, not whatever. But I also realized that we come together in so many more ways. For example, having a meal. When you sit down at a table and you share a meal, often you're eating flavors that might be from your country or your heritage or your family or your mom or your grandma's recipe. And there's something so beautiful about coming together and sharing a meal. So restaurants and really anyone out there that's bringing people together, that is the red thread through all of this, is bringing people together and helping build community. Because I think the only way to combat what we're going through right now, which is this, hyper isolation, depression, pulling apart of society, making people feel like it's us versus them, is realizing that we are one and that like we should be coming together. And Crew Love Collabs is essentially where I get to step in your world and you tell me all about it. It could be anything from like what you love to where you see the world going to just who you are. And you get to be the artist and I actually get to be the medium, and I create from your mind, which is so much more fun, in my opinion, than creating from my mind, because my mind is a crazy place. There is so much happening in my mind. It's very hard to keep all my ducks in a row. It's really fun to step into someone else's world and to get to play within their constraints and also their vision.
And I don't think I could have ever envisioned the way that you designed our collaboration. And I'm so grateful for that, because it really is such an awesome storyline, especially on the back of kind of the history of electronic and dance music. And I'm really excited for people to see it. What do you look for in a brand that might want to collaborate with you?
Yeah, it's people that are bringing those together. So it's someone that's building community. It's someone that is trying to connect resources, someone that is really just helping people understand that there is a greater reason for us to be here. And whether that's through food or that's through events or that's through your music or even your art, if you're an artist in another medium or an influencer or an activist, it's really just about people who are bringing people together.
Do you have any like non-negotiables for, has anyone ever come to you and you said, I can't, like, this isn't a good fit for me?
Yeah, I haven't yet because I'm still a baby brand. But if you are a hater, for lack of better terminology, I'm not going to work with you.
Yeah.
My brand is very, very rooted in its beliefs, and we're unapologetically going to stand by our beliefs. And I know that, like, maybe that isn't the best position for a brand to take, but I also think in today's environment that I have beliefs that I will not stand on any other side for. And if you are against that, then I can't work with you. If you have a different belief than that and you want to talk about it and you leave room for compassion, understanding, and empathy, I would love to have that conversation with you. I genuinely would.
Yeah.
But
it's also human nature to disagree on certain
issues. Yeah.
Right.
And I actually think, like, also, just let me put that out there, you don't have to agree with everything I say. And I prefer to have people in my life who actually disagree with me, because the only way to be a well-rounded human and to have other opinions is to hear other people. And please, I don't like to pretend that I know everything. And I actually am, like, low-key uneducated on so many things. So I'm still growing and learning and discovering all the world, and my memory works for very selective things. Like, it remembers, the airbrushed cat. It doesn't remember the history. So for me, I'm one of those people that, like, I love diversity, and I think that it's very important for everyone to have a seat at the table, which TM goes back to our design. But, for me, if you're one of those people that, doesn't like others, maybe based off of the color of their skin or their religious orientation or any of those things, then I unfortunately can't work with you. And I wish you the best. And I also wish you to find an opportunity to meet those people and to realize that they're very similar to you. And if you ever want to have that conversation with me, I'd be happy to lead you down that path. But unfortunately, I won't work with you if you are against that.
I think it's wholly appropriate for a brand to have its own values to stand up as, right? Otherwise, you kind of get lost in what other brands might be.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, I think also just the fact that you are willing to have conversations and be open-minded, right? But still stand on your ground is I think also why there's so much meaning in the art that you create. So I think you might have said this might be against, like, what a brand should be, but I completely disagree with you on that one, because I think it can define a brand more than anything else.
And I think, like, in today's landscape, we've had so many brands. So many brands exist.
I mean, you get hit by brand ads
all the time,
10,000 times a day here.
Yeah. I'm like, yellow bathing suit, and she serves me 20 yellow bathing suit ads, and I'm like, thank you.
Listening.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I'm actually now trying to use it to my benefit. Like, when I want something, I'm like, I'm looking for size 8.5.
3 minutes later, ad.
But yeah, I think that, like, in today's landscape, and I mean, for everything we know about brands and being a successful business, is you're focused on profit, right? You're focused on hyper growth. You're focused on always more. And I've been working in tech for the past 10 years, and it's never enough. Like, the moment you hit your goals, you just get bigger goals and bigger goals and bigger goals. And my question is, where are we headed? And why are we headed there? Because, to be honest with you, in those jobs, in those positions, in these hyper growth moments, like, it doesn't necessarily lead to happiness or even success by whatever you define success as. So I think that, like, another part of this coming to life was that I was working in tech for 10 years, I, at a young age, achieved a salary that was bananas, to say the least. And I was so unhappy. And I really had this moment with myself where I was like, whoa, like, you just achieved your dream job and your, like, dream financial number, and you're sad and you don't like what you're doing. So, like, this isn't the purpose. And some people, I think, are lucky enough in this life to have, like, really amazing parents and really amazing opportunity where they actually understand that from a younger age. But my journey wasn't that. So my journey was a bit different, of needing to really figure that out on my own and grind and, do the whole thing on my own. And, like, I guess prove to myself and prove to my parents that I could, be what they wanted to be, but also within my own frame. And then I had to have a really deep look at myself where I was like, am I happy with this person? Am I happy with what I'm doing? And I wasn't. And what I really wanted to do was make art. And I had positioned myself in my career where I was making art, but more so as, like, a creative director. And I was like, I don't want to just be creative directing. I want to be the person doodling. I want to be the person animating. I want to be the person making the website.
Do you see yourself still being hands-on, in 10 years' time, or what has Party Animals become in 10 years?
So the ideal vision for Party Animals is that it's like a community space where people can come and create one-of-kind upcycled clothing and learn how to do everything from like apply hardware to garments, to learn how to sew, to embroider, etc. And everything is fully sustainable. That was actually the original plan for Party Animals. Everything was one of one, hand-drawn, hand-stitched, hand-painted. I would love to find a way to make fashion less destructive to the planet, because fashion is killing our planet. And it's ridiculous that our planet is dying over a t-shirt. Like, this is crazy. This planet is so much more beautiful than clothing could ever be. And I think that it is on fashion brands to stop with the consumption that's happening and to help consumers also pivot themselves and to learn. Because, growing up in America, like consumption and consumerism is in our DNA. Like it's undeniable. It's a part of me, just like junk food, unfortunately. But like the reality is like, what if we use that to our benefit? Like, what if rather than going and buying a new shirt, you bring in your shirt that you already love that maybe has a stain because you ate some spaghetti last night and it got all over it. This happens to me all the time. And you learn how to—
Not speaking from experience, are you?
Yeah, not speaking from experience, but and you learn how to embroider it, or you upcycle it and split it in half. Like, I think this would be super sick. And to also be able to connect creators in that space with people who want to learn how to do this sort of work. So like those who have taught themselves how to use a sewing machine, or those who have learned, some basic information, and really make it a space like this. Yeah, I think the brand eventually evolves into this like way that anyone has access to me as a designer, the designers that I will hopefully work with in the future, and all sorts of artists, and to really give artists a way to connect with people to create something more meaningful. And ideally, everyone loves what they're doing and everyone's getting paid fairly and people are happy, and it's a place that people can go and make new friends. And it's a way in which fashion is giving back, not only by funding artists and like actually giving grants to artists, but also teaching people how to be artists, teaching people how to do something that they love or figure out what that is. Because maybe you're also on your journey and you're thinking maybe fashion, maybe music, maybe media. And yeah. I've just decided also recently that it's going to go how it goes, and I'm going to be flexible to it, because I was really pushing this brand to be like one of one custom, like wearable art. And I was pushing that for about a year. I went to the streets to sell my stuff in Soho, to sell my stuff in Washington Square, and also McCarran Park. I came in with an ego the size of a skyscraper. I was like, oh my gosh, when people see my stuff, they're gonna be like, what? Wow, I love your work. Like, come join my fashion show, blah, blah, blah. Like, I was like manifesting. I was like, let's go, we're gonna get it. Not a single person stops. I literally like
How humbling.
I went home with my like clothing rack and I was like,
oh no,
I think I should quit. Like literally, like I think I should just give up. And I realized that the pieces that I was making, although they were amazing, the price point was really, really high. And I was having some fantastic conversations with folks. And then when I would tell them how much the pieces were, they would immediately put them back, which I totally understand, because I'm not buying things that are expensive either. And that's when I was like, actually, I want to have a brand that's more accessible to the everyday person. And that helped me pivot more so into focusing on like streetwear and stuff. And yeah, like I think also being flexible and like letting, yourself find a way and not being so rooted in like it has to be this and like this is my 10-year plan is important. Yeah. So we'll see how she grows.
What is the first step that anybody, especially in a society as hyper-consumerist as the US, can take to be less all-consuming?
I think the first step is to stop consuming and to start making. The moment that you stop consuming and you start making, find your art, essentially is how I would brand this, is the moment that you realize you're spending a lot of your time browsing products online. You're spending a lot of time filling up shop carts that you'll never purchase. I do that all the time. And like you're spending a lot of your time even consuming like media, like, social media, videos, TikToks, whatever it is.
Listen to this, Will.
But watch this one. Yeah, so I think it's the first thing is to look at where all the avenues in which you're consuming. It's not just like retail purchases. It can also be media. And figure out if maybe you want to start creating in some of those spaces, because that definitely like rewires your brain of like how it wants to engage with things. And then the next thing would be that it is, I think, almost undeniably impossible as an American to not consume. It is really ingrained in our social culture and our financial culture, and also in our mindset of like, oh, it's a new season, I want to get this. Oh, like, I don't like this shirt anymore, I want to get that, you know? So if you are going to consume, stop consuming brands that aren't giving back to you. For example, all the major brands in the world are not donating enough of their profits to help the world. If you're a small brand like myself and you're already donating money from every single sale to help people, this should be showing to consumers that your dollar is actually your superpower. And in the consumerist market and in the capitalist market, not only is the dollar the like greatest value, but it's also the biggest weakness. So where you put your dollar is how things grow and where things grow, which is why, you know, places like Amazon and, you know, Whole Foods are thriving, right? Even though they're the same conglomerate. But what if Amazon was also giving 20% of its profits to save the Amazon? Why can't it? I would love Amazon if it was doing that. If Amazon was not only not burning the real Amazon, but was like saving the real Amazon, and was also delivering my products as quickly as it does, that's a marketing message I can get behind, actually. That'd be amazing. So my voice, or like my message to people who are gonna consume, and that's everyone, is please think about where you're putting your dollars. Find those little artist brands, find those like mom and pop shops, and try and put your money there, because you know that you're going to be putting your money in pockets that are going to be giving back to you. And demand more from brands. If you're giving someone $50 for a t-shirt, they should be donating 10% where you want to see it go.
Let's switch back to kind of your creations and your collaborations, and more in the music scene. You've done a lot with, you know, local events here with NYC Rave Girls. You did a recent collab with Labrinto. Why is giving back, I know dance music has been such a big part of your life too, but why is giving back to that community so important to you?
Because that is the first place that I realized that there was something more. So when I was going to these parties and being surrounded by these artists, and I was having this like awakening, like, oh wow, like what if you did do something that you loved and it was for work? And I think a lot of the younger generation gets that the whole system is messed up anyways, and that's why a lot of them are like, why would I work when I could not work, you know? And I think that like that's the reason why I want to give back to this community, is because it helped me find my way, and I think it's helping a lot of others find their way. I think that partying has, like, originally, and like, you know, the intention of raving was to be a way for people to kind of be against the machine and the man, and it was all about liberation. And I think I also want to remind people that that is what this space is for. And I feel like nowadays it's definitely like veered from that. It feels like it's a lot more about profit and a lot more about clout and a lot more about videoing yourself and, you know, being behind the DJ and this and that, whatever. And I would love to remind, you know, new people coming into the scene, and even old people who've been in the scene, that this isn't where you started here. This isn't why this started. And that this started as a place for you to be free from everything, to be free from your stresses, to be free from your bills, to be free from your job. It started as a place of liberation and a place of acceptance. And that place is so sacred to me, you know, like even though my knees hurt and I'm on my way to retirement.
Oh, please.
You know, it is still one of the most magical places that I've been in my entire life. And also experiences that I've had on the dance floor have been experiences that I have never had anywhere else. And I don't think I ever could, to be honest with you, you know. There's been many moments where I felt like I've literally melted into what feels like one person and we're all dancing together. Or, you know, when you look up and you realize you're in sync with someone across the room, and then you make eye contact and then you're smiling, laughing. And it's like, you just don't get to share these moments anyplace else in the world. And there's something so magical about that. So I'd always want to give back to that space.
What's your biggest dance floor pet peeve?
Ooh, my biggest dance floor pet peeve. I mean, obviously I need space for my arms, as previously mentioned. And I think my next biggest dance floor pet peeve is kind of back to the original point, where it's like the whole purpose of partying was to be free from what binds us. And I get really frustrated when I go to an event and it feels like it's all focused on profit and clout. And it's not focused on like the music or the energy or the people. So, you know, if you are in the space and you are throwing events, I think like, you know, remembering the roots of why you started to do it in the first place is so important.
Yeah.
Other pet peeves that I have, I don't know. I feel like I'm I'm not too pet peevy on the dance floor.
Yeah. Any other hot takes for house music?
I think we need to be raving in saunas much more. And I mean like proper raving.
Okay.
Like not like sitting down, like there are some sauna parties, don't get me wrong, but like I want to take like the best party you've been to in the world and then also add a sauna to it.
Why is that?
I just want to lounge, you know? I told you I'm retired. My knees hurt. There needs more recovery room. Like we need not only the thing that massages you, I forget what the name is, the Theragun, is that what it's called? I need more than a Theragun. I need a cold plunge. I need a sauna. I need a hot tub, you know, like I need everything.
In our collaboration, you made a conscious effort to really dive into sort of the world of what Tiny Table Radio is, kind of my backstory, which, you know, I really appreciated you taking that time to learn that. And I think that really influenced the design a lot. What is it about going into someone else's world that really gives you a lot of fulfillment?
It's like reading a book, you know, like you think you know someone and then you start asking them like those deeper questions and you realize they're nothing like what you thought. And I love this plot twist. Like actually plot twists are maybe my favorite thing in movies or film. And film and movies are the same thing. and movies or books. And yeah, like I love being able to dive into someone's background and to understand like what brought them here, what are all the weird little twists and turns that they took, because no path is a straight path. And whether you are, you know, getting on the horse or falling off the horse or whatever it is, there's always, you know, moments where you're doing it or you're not doing it, or it comes together and it doesn't come together. You fall apart, you build yourself back together. So what I find super special even about like your story is all the little details that we put into it, and like how you are super techie, obviously. And a lot of the tech is actually featured in there, like literal hardware, which is super cool. And I never draw hardware ever. So like this was something way out of my scope. So that was also like refreshing. And keychains, like I haven't done a keychain until this moment, and I realized I love keychains. So thank you for that.
Thank you. That's great.
I'm a trinketeer. I love trinkets and little things, and the keychain vibe is amazing. So
cool. That little alien on it. So,
yes,
like I want to be friends with that little alien.
I am that little alien. You are friends with that little alien.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I think that it's amazing to step into your world, and also the moment I step into your world, it's like a whole new reality, right? Gravity's different. The plants are different. It's maybe, you know, pink instead of blue, you know, sun shines in a different way, or maybe it's lit by the moon, you know, like it's really like I'm stepping into a whole universe. None of it I know. I'm an explorer, like an astronaut, and I'm uncovering all the little aspects of you and how you built this thing and what are like the unique laws which it operates by. And that's something I could never do without you. So for me, it's amazing.
Speaking of plot twists, we are here in your studio.
Yes.
How did getting the space come about for you?
I looked at a lot of spaces, and this space came about because I left my job and I decided I was going to fully send it on art. And I looked at a bunch of spaces around Brooklyn. I ended up having a friend send me this place, and he was like, I think that this space would make a lot of sense for you. I saw it. I was like, this is my dream art studio. And so, yeah, I signed a lease, and here we are. And that's kind of how she went.
What did it feel like the first time you walked in here?
I have videos of me like skipping very, very aggressively around the space. Like, you know, those skips where you get like 4 feet of height in the panda head. So it felt like, that one. It felt like, and I'm not even like a religious person, but it felt like, you know, everything had led up to this moment, and that like I was on the right path. And then, you know, as I had mentioned to you, I found on Facebook Marketplace a listing for some shelves that I wanted. And when I got there, the guy said, take as much as you want. Our store is closing. You can have everything for free. Wow. So it just felt like God, or, you know, a higher power was like, not only here's the studio of your dreams, but now here's all this furniture to decorate it and make it, you know, your home. So I don't know. It was one of those moments where I was able to like really propel my growth. And also I think the moment I got the studio was when I started making content and taking it a bit more seriously, which I do think is also important for growing your brand digitally. And it really helped me creatively start flowing a lot more.
Well, I want you to just take us through kind of your clothing rack here really quick, but just a few more questions before that. Do you have any upcoming drops, releases, art that's coming out that's really meaningful and special to you?
Yes. So I have 2 drops coming up. Obviously, our drop, Tiny Table, is going to happen. So check it out. Super limited edition drop. And the shirts are amazing. Like I said, best one thus far. And next up is also some She Is Culture shirts that are dropping. So it's a limited edition run of a purple and a cream on purple shirt. And the idea with this is to help elevate the voices that are women in film, media, and music, and help just like bring more awareness that she is shaping culture. And, you know, I think that there's a lot of women throughout history and even presently that are putting in so much work and that are highlighting so many struggles and so many beautiful stories of resilience and all the amazing things that women go through just on a daily basis. Plus, then they're doing art on top of that and sharing those. And yeah, I'm really just trying to give back in that way. And those shirts are also accompanied, the She Is Culture, with giving away a $500 artist grant for every 60 shirts we sell. As you know, like I'm really focused on giving back with the art that we do create and using streetwear as a vehicle for change. So not only putting messages on clothing that like inspires, you know, subconscious realizations like, oh, wow, yeah, that's interesting, you know, but also putting our money where our mouth is and actually donating the profits that we're getting to help people, because I think that those are 2 things that you should demand from a brand as a consumer because you have the power.
And where can people follow your journey, stay up to date with your art?
Yeah, you can follow me on Don't Feed the Party Animals, because you know what happens if you feed the party animals?
What happens?
They never leave.
Now you know.
Yeah, and mostly just on Instagram. I do have a TikTok. I need to be better at TikTok. I'm mostly just doing Instagram.
Last question is really a statement that we leave every episode with, and I'm going to ask you to because music is so important to you. Just finish this sentence for me. To me, house music is
A home.
G. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Bye.
Studio time, tour time.
It's tour time.
Hustle for the dough. Get the cash, make it last. Hustle a little more. This is how we roll.
Thanks for listening to that latest interview on Tiny Table Radio. It would help a lot if you hit that subscribe button now so I can bring on more guests and keep this show going. So hit that subscribe button now, and we'll see you next time. Enjoy the set.